Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Energy Coach workshop. So excited to be here with you guys today. So, after getting some really good questions about energy exercises, I decided we should focus a workshop just on energy exercises and sort of the tools that we are teaching our clients to use to help them in self-healing. I'm waiting on Mark to share the PDF here in the chat with you guys. It's long, it's 13 pages. And I've been spending the last couple weeks just kind of coming up with what are the key words, concepts, and tools. Almost like a self quiz you can do for yourself. And you might add other things to this document. Like you might go, oh, and I also offer this, and I do this. And I would say it differently. I would say it like this. So it can be very personalized, this document. And I'm not complete with it, actually. I'm going to give you a PDF today, but eventually I'll give you a more complete version, and you can add to it as well. So let's just start off with a little centering, grounding, and a kind of reach out to our resources and to universal help to assist us in learning and embodying and really absorbing these energy tools as vehicles for our own healing and for helping our clients to heal and to empower and to activate and to release and to give and to fill up and all these good things we're going to learn today. So let's just begin with grounding our energy, feeling your feet. And you might wiggle your toes a little if it's possible. I don't know if you're wearing shoes. I can kind of feel a rug under my toes. And just notice if you're wearing shoes, it's okay. Just notice the bottoms of your feet. It can take a couple seconds. So just breathe and notice. You might notice more one foot and then the other foot. You might feel more the balls of your feet or the sides or the heels. And just take another breath. And as you breathe in, imagine your feet are breathing too. And as you breathe out, imagine your foot and feet are breathing out as well. Now, you're probably incorporating several different senses as you do this. The sense of touch, the imagination, you might sort of in some way feel, see, or know your feet. That kinesthetic awareness with your breath, combining with your imagination, in some way imagining breath moving from your feet. So this is an energy tool. And it grounds us. And then let's go now to your core of your body, your chest, your ribs, your belly, your hips, your pelvic bones and your whole pelvic floor area, tailbone. And just imagine that there's this beautiful cord of light, and you can feel it or see it or just know it. And for some of you, you might like to imagine this as a root system going down into earth. For some, it might be a nice cord of light. And bring your hands in front of you and just let your breath and your hands move in this vertical way as this movement combines with your inner experience and your imagination to feel, to know, to sense this cord of light connecting you to earth, grounding you, stabilizing you. As you breathe, just imagine coming in and down. You might use words to help you, like I am stable, present. I am connected and grounded to earth. And let your breath be a helper. Invite any guides, angels, animal helpers, ancestors, metaphors, places in nature, anything that works for you. Invite those resources around you as helpers and let your hands make that invitation. Empower your hands now to invite support around you. Empower your breath to invite the support with your hands. And just let yourself sit for a moment in the sacred space of your own true inner self, and whatever form of support that is here with you. I invite the support of our whole class to be here as helpers. And I invite and welcome the energy of our circle and our friendship together as we learn. And I'm just going to make a wish. May we all receive information. May we all receive our own direct knowing, our own wisdom, our own connection with our energy, with our body, with our beautiful minds and hearts. And may we each feel and know what will serve us in our work and in our personal self as well, and in our connection with the universe. And just coming together now with the center of your body. If it helps, I like to bring my hands together in prayer position and just feel that line in front by just moving the hands up and down. And you begin to just sort of know or feel or imagine a line of energy that goes up and down the center of your body, starting right in front of your tailbone and moving up in front of the spine through each energy center. And let the hands just move up as you imagine this, all the way to the crown. And then if you wish, the hands can stay together and you can just feel that line of energy, imagine it, have the intention to know it. As you bring the hands down, still together in that position of alignment and connection and unity. And if you wish, we can also do an energy exercise now of a circle where we bring the hands up, and you might want to open your eyes. The hands are going up and then they open and expand. And it's like you bring a circle of energy, protection, love, kindness all around you. And you just do that one more time, hands together in front of the ribs, up, connecting with the universe, opening, expanding that healing, safety, protection all around you. And imagine that circle now surrounding you like a bubble of light. And perhaps you have a way that you call in a shield or a force field or an emotion or a color or a sound that holds you in a loving protection. And let's just all have a sound we use now. Your sound is off. We won't hear you. I'm going to Om quietly as my sound, but you can do this sound inside yourself or using your voice and letting the sound fill the space around you. And just knowing that this sound is connecting you with your life force, with your spiritual energy, with the universe, with all of your helpers and non-ordinary reality, and with your body. This is a unifying sound. And you can just rest easy for a moment here. Let all doing just quiet down and settle. And for a moment, just sit in your own beautiful silence. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay. So we were just already using some energy tools, right? We did grounding through the feet, and grounding can happen in different ways. Are you guys hearing me okay, by the way? I should have checked that first. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And so we did grounding, and we did it through the soles of the feet, but then we also did it through the grounding cord from the center of the body down. Hold on one sec. Mark just entered. Oh, could you put it in the chat on Zoom? Oh, you did. You put it there. Thank you. Yay. Okay. We got the document added by Mark. So it's there in our chat. Do you guys see that link?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll be sharing my screen in a minute, but I just wanted all of you guys to have that. I also added it to your classroom under the welcome tab. So what we just did, back to reviewing, we did grounding in 2 different ways. We did, we called in our support team in Non-Ordinary Reality in the way that works for you. So can you write into the chat, what is your easiest way to call in that support? Is it a place in nature? Is it a value? Is it a guide? Is it an angel? Is it the divine? Is it a field of consciousness? What works for you? That's what really matters, is knowing that there is some tool there for you to use. It could be a sound. It could be feeling into the heart, using my intention, beautiful, the divine, guide and field, music or nature, deep breathing and meditation, calling in the light beings with hands and sound, using my imagination. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm going to keep asking you these questions, because actually the tools that I'm offering you today, while they're valuable and I hope they become your tools, really what's most important right now is that you keep honoring what works for you and you don't give up on using it. Because sometimes a funny thing can happen to us. We can have a lot of tools and then life is going on, and we're stressed out for some reason, or we're moving quickly through things, and we just forget to use our tools. So it's kind of like practicing something that we just want to have there as a skill. Just practicing 30 seconds of calling in support in some way does a lot. 30 seconds of grounding our energy does a lot. 1 breath meditation does a lot. You know, often people say, I'm so busy at work. How can I do this? You can do this in 1 minute increments. All of these tools can be done in 1 minute increments. So one more thing I want to mention that I think is, it's in the doc I shared, but I just want to bring attention to it right now. Well, it's really hard because I want to bring attention to about 100 things today. So I'm just going to let it flow. I'm gonna lean into my own guidance, and by guidance, I mean guides and divine support, and just let what shows up show up. So if it feels to you in any way sort of thrown together today, just know that that's okay. That's my intention, for it to be all just coming as it comes, the teaching. So our legs and our hands. So activate your hands a second. Say hello with your hands. Okay. Your hands are a huge source of energy healing, energy movement, energy direction. And when you connect your hands to your legs and just kind of rub the top of your thighs a little bit, and maybe it feels good to have the hands over the knees for a moment, kind of cupping the knees. You are connecting with your body as you do this. You're also grounding and bringing a calming effect to the nervous system, unless it doesn't feel good to you. If it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. But for most of us, it's a very fast way to bring energy down and connect with the body. And many people I work with, both coaches and clients, one of their concerns is that they're in their head a lot. they're in thoughts, and they might go into catastrophic thinking, fast thinking, and they want to be more embodied. And when they're working with a client or in a learning environment or with family, it's hard to go, okay, I'm present with myself. I'm bringing my energy down and in. And I find personally the hands to the legs are a very fast way to do that. No one also, it never looks weird. You know, putting your hands on your legs or your knees, it's just not really noticeable. Tapping a little bit there. Like if you do that with your heart, someone might be like, oh, are you okay? If you put your hand on your stomach, you know, if you're young, they might think you're pregnant. If you're a woman, if you're not young and female, someone might think have a stomach ache or something. So there's nothing wrong with those touch points, right? They're beautiful. And even right now, hand to heart and hand to belly, and let that connection be there for a moment. Take a deep breath. So this is actually not in the PDF I shared, but it will be added. And if someone is here who really likes to take good notes, could you take a note for me? Hand to heart and belly, connecting two parts of the body together through breath and awareness. So if we are feeling disjointed, like we're in multiple places, that's going on in our energy system too. So by touching in with our hands and our attention and our breath to two locations in the body, we are creating connection, and we're unifying or integrating our energy just through that 2-point connection. Let's call that 2-point connection. And there are meditations where we do this with a client, hand on head, hand on heart. Hands holding the chin and jaw, connecting the two sides of the face. And then we'll talk about crossovers, but there's lots of positions we can take. If any of you are Reiki practitioners, in Reiki, there's a set series of positions, and you can do self Reiki. And, you know, I come from the tradition that while I totally honor lineages and I honor policies and rules of any tradition I'm in, like I would not teach Reiki because I'm not qualified to teach Reiki. And I trust that system and their way, but I have studied quite a bit of Reiki. I also think there are some things that are universal in different traditions that it is okay to share. And I find that the positions are very intuitive. You don't have to do a Reiki training to find positions that feel good. So the hand positions should feel good. It shouldn't feel awkward. If you do something that feels exposing or painful or stressful, that's not good for your system. So just trust that. Oh yeah, I love that one, Tom. I'm seeing that one. That's a great one. Yeah. Yeah. So these 2-point connections, it's really powerful. And if your hands can't go to a place in your body, but let's say you're lying down, bring your awareness to the back of your upper back. And at the same time, put a hand on your legs or somewhere else on your body and feel that connection. Okay. When we did the position of the prayer position and moving up and down, it has both been taught to me from a teacher and internally taught to me that this vertical channel connects us very quickly with, you could say, with our soul's truth or with the universal field. Whatever your tradition is, I think you get what I mean. It connects us to a deeper part of ourselves and a connection to a greater awareness that we are all part of. And we can give that many different words and language, but we can also feel it. And this vertical connection is really supportive. Now, there are horizontal connections too that we'll talk about, but the vertical connection, when we go up and come around with our hands, I do that every morning about 10 times, standing up. So I stand, and I'm not going to stand because my setup here is a little awkward to stand. But if you want to stand, ground yourself, feeling your feet and kind of leaning into more of a center of your body, and just set that intention to go down into the ground with your lower body, hands to heart, breathe in, up, and around. And this is like a full energy balancing is the way I think of it. It's also somatically creating a protection bubble. It's also bringing in, filling up energy and releasing like a volcano, going up and out and around. So try it out for yourself. Try 10 of those in the morning if you'd like. It's energizing, not tranquilizing. So I wouldn't do that before getting into bed at night. The other energy exercise that's helpful in the morning is a little thumping on the heart center, if it feels good, not if it doesn't feel good. And the crossover. So everyone try a crossover. By the way, you really can't burn out your energy with these little energy tools I'm giving you right now. So that's let's say your back hurt, or for some reason you couldn't do the hug crossover. That's okay. You can take your right hand and put it on your left leg maybe, and just tap your left leg. You're crossing over the two sides of the body. Take one hand and cross it over to the other leg and tap. You can do that more quickly. You can do it more energetically with a twist, right? So when we twist, when we cross our arms, our fingers, our legs, we are creating that connection between the two sides of the body. Donna Eden teaches that this is really helpful for concentration for people who suffer with ADHD, with kids who are having issues learning. I really like Donna Eden's simple energy exercises, and you can actually find them on YouTube, little videos of her main energy exercises in the morning. Also, of course, you can do long courses of hers, and I've got all of them. And I don't do all of them. I'm like you guys when I'm being a student. I mean, not that lots of you guys do every video, but I have to admit I get courses and I don't do all of the learning. But I have found both, some of her, she's kind of the grandmother of, you could say, of a lot of energy exercises being taught in at least the United States, but I think she's written a lot of books. So I love her tools. I think they're really helpful. Some get a little too complicated for me, and I wouldn't want to teach a client all of those. So I'm sharing the ones that I feel are very universal and are easy to share with clients. Any questions before we move on? I've been talking for a while. No questions? Oh, I'm glad you like the PDF, Sherry. Awesome. It's I'm really wanting, I'm thinking it's probably going to double in size, this PDF, but I think of it as a resource for you that you can go to, and basically it should contain all 30 modules in a Cliff Note version so that you can go to it quickly. And I'll keep organizing it more and more. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. So I share the PDF, actually, if some of you can use that. So I tried to organize things sort of into beginning. So let's in different phases of energy coaching tools. So welcome and acceptance practices. So let's say let's look at this document right now in terms of working with a client. one of the common conflicts a person will have is between their thinking and their feeling, or their thinking and their body knowing. So they may feel stress in the body of some kind or pain, and then their mind kind of runs wild with that. I know I do that. I'm like everybody else. I have physical problems, and then I'm thinking I'm going to have to stop working and just detox for 4 months. And then what will happen? And blah, 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 blah. And like I go down a long, long road far from home. And that's how I think about it. When the mind gets really busy, it's taking us sometimes really far from the truth of what's really here and what we need to welcome and accept. So like in my example here of my mind going off on a road trip with pain or suffering of some kind, I need to remember right now, what do I need to accept and welcome? Fear. Okay, fear. You're human. You feel fear, Magli. That's okay. And then I can bring in energy tools to soothe my nervous system, to come into presence, to align with my center, right? When we do welcoming things with our hands, I really wanted today to emphasize the magic of our hands as a tool in energy. Our breath, our hands, our voice. So those are 3 really important ones: breath, hands, voice. So, and of course, there's our imagination and creative mind. And you guys have had a lot of that in the training. But when it comes to energy exercises, resources, breath, hands, voice. And Elizabeth, let me see. There we go.
So you mentioning this idea of conflict brings up an interesting question I have about a client that I've been working with. Mm-hmm. When we're in discussion of his life and what's going on, he'll start to mention areas that he wants to develop. And but then when I took him into an energy exercise and was kind of working on the first chakra, what he came out of it from was a very serene state of, I'm good. Like everything's great. Like a lot of self-acceptance, a lot of love, a lot of, just feeling very positive about himself. Yeah. But it seemed like there was a disconnect between what's happening in his life to what he was feeling. And that, like, it almost seemed like it was creating a lack of movement forward, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm, like it was almost like not looking at the areas he wants to develop anymore. It's like it ignored all that.
Yeah.
Any advice for that?
Yeah. So let's look at what that feeling good happens. So when we feel good in a meditation, in a guided meditation or an energy experience with our coach, often what's happening is we are power filling. We have felt a lack of resources, and that chakra or that guidance is helping us fill with resources and power. So we want to bring attention to that feeling of peace or I'm okay. That is your deepest truth. Now, how do we want that to act in life? So then we might bring in something like an archetype energy, a universal energy of action and direction, or we might bring in an element that creates more, like air and wind move things, or fire heats things up, creates action. But it's okay to say to someone, I'm so glad you received this resourcing. Now let's just set an intention this week for one small step. What is one action step? It might be to keep filling with that resource of feeling okay. Because it's really hard to take action if you're feeling crappy.
Well, it almost seems like it's even feeling good is preventing him from taking action. Because in some ways he's kind of like, I'm good. I accept myself. I accept the fact that I'm not doing my, my bills or my paperwork. And that's just how I am. I'm good. So that's where it's kind of like a disconnect.
Okay.
Of like,
so
how I am.
let's go then with parts of self. And I do want to get back to the doc, and we can talk more about this later, Elizabeth, because this is a great client. This is a great learning client for everyone. But parts of self. So there's a part of you that might be your higher self that feels good and accepts this. But I'm guessing there's also another part of you that might have a quieter voice that knows if you take action, you'll ultimately have an easier life in some way. So what is that part of you that does want the action taking, the healthy action, the healthy habits? Let's meet them. And I might go to parts work that way. So parts of self is another way we can work in energy coaching.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. Okay. And now I need to find I think it's this one, but I'm not sure. Yep, here we go. Okay. So, in a general way, so the welcoming in, using the hands to welcome things in. So when we use the hands, we use the soma, the body, without knowing it in our mind or without feeling it emotionally or seeing it, the body kinesthetically will give to us. The body through the hands can welcome things in, can make a face right now of hello, welcome. What's that like? That's like an open frequency, right? Welcome. Hi. How are you? Good to see you. I'm opening and I'm ready to receive. That's a really important energy, and the hands help it. Even if we don't have the words or the feelings around it, the hands are guiding the experience. The same thing the hands do if something is stuck, blocked, congested, or hurting us, like someone else's thoughts or energy, or like an energy invasion. And we actually can take the hands and just, I don't usually make that sound with my tongue, but it's feeling right today. And like what came to my mind really weirdly as a metaphor, I've never had this before, but it was like these chocolate caramel kind of candies, like just coming out of me, like, and that's something I need to get rid of. Don't worry, I didn't give it to you. I give it to the universe to heal. But the hands begin the process, and then we might just get an idea like, oh, like chocolate globules, that's what I'm releasing. It might be someone's face. It might be a kind of color or a quality like smoke or water or oil. Like, so there can be these qualities that we feel we are releasing, or it might just be the hands. Like, I don't know what's stuck there, but I'm going to just ease it out of me, send it with love and grace to evolve, or send it back to where it came to be seen and healed. And I send it with love. So it's really important to send things with love, with the frequency of love and kindness, because I'll tell you a unfortunate story that an energy teacher taught that I heard. So this is not my story. This is someone else's story, and I'm forgetting her name. I'm sorry. That before she knew to send things back to the person with love and protection and kindness, she helped a client send a bunch of energetic kind of intrusions and cords back to where they came from. And the client knew it was coming from his father. Well, the father suddenly committed suicide. And the energy healer felt like, it was not her intention. It was not her client's intention for that person to suffer from receiving that negative energy back to them. But it made her realize it's always important. And really, who knows, right? Life is a mystery. It might have had nothing to do with the son's healing. But it's important to, I think, from an intention point of view, a spiritual point of view, send it with love and kindness. And the word that comes to me is grace. Even though, like, whatever, my background is not Christian, grace has a very certain connotation. For me, grace is a really empowering state. And so I send it with grace, and I think of it as like saturated with this frequency of kind of brilliant kindness, like brilliant as in shiny, and like it's going to be okay. And so it's going back to the person where it came from to be healed and evolved, but it has that protective layer of love or kindness or grace, whatever word works for you. It could be flowers. I surround it in flowers. It's just funny because I surround my room in flower paintings. So obviously I like flowers as a metaphor. Okay, guys, so let's see any questions about what I'm talking about with the hands as a tool, or we can talk more about the releasing of cords and energy that's not ours in our system and helping others. And by the way, personal story, I think this will relieve some of you guys, I'm hoping, by sharing this personal thing. I am going to energy healer these days. I've met a fantastic energy healer, and I am so full of cords, you wouldn't believe it. So, and I said to him, is everybody this full of cords? And he said, no, you've got some extras. And he said, I think it's the work you do. I find that people who guide meditations or who are therapists or who are working with a lot of people, they get a lot of cords. Some are kind of unintentional cords. Like when we really like someone, we really like a friend or someone we're doing something with, we like their energy. Unconsciously, we might go, oh, I'd like just a little bit of that. Can I just go in a little bit? And so that creates a little cord. You might not feel it. I don't feel it when people or things cord to me. I don't feel it. My general belief is be open, be giving, be generous, be welcoming. And so it's been told to me that I kind of have a neon sign above my head saying, come, take some of my energy. It's free. Come, take some energy. Would you like some more? And I've had this said to me by different energy healers over the years. And I'm like, well, and obviously I have a psychological issue with that. I have a psychological issue with protection. I have to trust other people's stories and beliefs more than my own, because I don't have naturally a protective belief system. But I do now, after a lot of trusting others, I now do protection, like the energy bubble. I do protection, releasing cords. I do those things, the shielding. I do all that now. Doesn't come naturally to me. So I told you guys that not for you to be worried about me or thinking, oh no, I have an energy coaching teacher who's full of cords. She must not know her stuff. It's because I hope you don't think that, but it's because we're all human and we all have these interactions, and we do get corded with people. We cord onto people, they cord onto us, but we also have this healthy power to release those and to feel them. So now, for example, I can feel if I'm getting what I call an energy attack, and I'll get anxious and I'll feel like, wow, some bad news is about to arrive. I know it's coming. And I just hope it's going to be mild. And it'll be like a nasty text message from someone. Like the other day, we have a plumber that did some work for us we didn't like. And he sent me a nasty kind of, you better pay me right now message. And I was like, oh, phew, that was all it was. Okay, I'll pay you. No problem. But like that was what I was feeling. So we can get proof like that when we do feel an energy attack coming and something happens. We can get these little evidence pieces. And I like receiving those. Oh, there's lots of good things in the chat. Okay, I'm going to take Diane's question, and then please put before your chat question if it's a question, so I catch it and read it. Diane, hi.
Thank you, Magali.
Absolutely.
This is really good. I was at work yesterday and I went to see a coworker who was bitter about being passed over a job. And no matter what I said or how I looked, I couldn't penetrate that bitterness. And I finally reached over to hug her because we used to work really well together, right? But now she's got this other thing going on. I hugged her and I could feel the coldness. So I went back to my office and I still held it, right? I held that energy.
Yeah.
And I started working and my eyes started feeling pain. And my first thought, of course, is to say, "Oh, why is my eye hurting?" But I had a picture of my guide on my desk and I looked at him and I just put my hands on my eyes and I said, "What am I not seeing right now?" And I realized that it was her stuff that I'd picked up. So my question to you is this. I know you said use our hands to kind of send it back. What am I sending back to her? I mean, I was able to overcome it and my eye was fine afterwards, but
Yeah.
if you could just kind of walk me through a little bit of so that I'll be more conscious
Well,
of.
I don't know how helpful I'm going to be. I don't know. I can't give it an exact
I mean, because I want to
explanation
just
of
say,
what
like,
you're
give
sending
her
back.
her negative energy back, but I don't think we want to do that, right? It's just I pick something up.
Right. So maybe it's better just to feel it as whatever is not mine, I send back. What is not mine, I release with love back to the person, or if you prefer, to the universe. So I don't have a strong, I always feel a little bad, like I should be more opinionated on this stuff, but I'm just not, honestly. Like, I feel like if you want to send it to God, or you want to send it, you want to have an angel take it, or you have an animal helper that works with it, or you send it back to the person. I often send the wish, may you learn and evolve. May you grow. May the best be true for all involved. Like, may the best at the universal level come out of this.
Okay. That helps.
But what I think is important is not that we think there has to be a certain way that we send that or certain explanation about it, but just that we get into the practice of what feels right for us. Like, for a long time, I had my white wolf. And when I felt any kind of energy attack, it was very hard for me to feel protective emotions for myself. But my white wolf was like, I will rip out someone's throat for you, Magli. No problem. Show me who that is, and I got your back. And I was like, whoa, my white wolf is vicious. But, non-ordinary reality. They're not really ripping anyone's throat out. Not me, my white wolf. And I would just call my white wolf in for protection. And I wouldn't see this, but I would kind of feel the presence of this wolf sort of circling me and circling a sort of bigger territory. And again, not seeing it, just knowing it. And I'm going to talk more about the clairs in a little bit. And so I want to really emphasize knowing it versus seeing it, feeling it versus hearing it. Some people will hear a message, you are safe, I've got your back. That is a form of protection. Some people will know it. I know my wolf is here. Some people will see it. I see this animal helper, or I see the Archangel Michael here. If we're really used to one kind of sense, or one kind of, like, whether it's clairaudient, clairvoyance, clairsentience, or what's the other one? I've got them written down. I always mess up with the words that start with clairs. It's not natural for me. But if we get another one, it's often shocking. Like, I've had visions come to me and I don't normally see things. And when a vision comes to me, it's like, whoa, that's just a little too much. That's just ridiculous. Like, does it really have to be this, like an animation or something? Like I'll get Archangel Michael as though I'm watching a cartoon of a medieval character or something. And I just kind of laugh. I crack up that that's what I'm seeing, because it's not the way I expect it to be. So our imagination, our mind, our memories, probably the amount of Disney movies I watched, all of this can affect these different clairs. And, with 5 kids, and I have to say, like, I'm one of those moms that I loved, like, afternoon PBS movies and TV shows. I watched a lot of them. So they all influence, right? Yeah, and energy daggers, that's a good word, Deb. And I really trust those words that come to you. So one thing when we are working with releasing energy cords, like, so just imagine someone has corded into you. you can ask first for more information. What does that cord connect to? Do I have a belief around it? And I'm not sure if I've taught a class on this. I will teach a whole class on cords. I've been doing more personal work with that, obviously, since being told about all these cords and feeling them. Because, by the way, it's not just that the energy healer I work with tells me this. When he is working on me, he is 5-6 feet away from me, and I am feeling him pull things out of my body. Like, it's as clear as, I don't know, this glass of water to me, that this is moving out of my body, and it's clear to him. And it's almost like we're telepathically communicating, because I'll say to him, suddenly, I'm just sensing oranges. Like, I can feel oranges. And he said, I'm using an orange white frequency right now. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I did that with the violet frequency too. So it's so cool being able to share a language of energy with someone in real time and space. So I feel very lucky that it's like I've stumbled on a new level of energy teaching from this person. But he says, I'm not a teacher. I'm just a practitioner. I like to get dirty. I'm like, that's a bad metaphor. By the way, this guy is great, but he uses horrible metaphors. He told me we're just removing all the dead soldiers. And I was like, dude, I don't want to think about dead soldiers. Like, could we have a better metaphor? So I was like, had he come to energy coach training, he wouldn't use scary metaphors. So that's something to be aware of. People can be very talented sensing energy. They can be really talented healers, and yet they didn't learn not to use scary words that would create more fear in the person they're working on. So it's just really important to notice how, even if you don't have that ability, and most of us don't, by the way, most of us can't, do this sort of energy removal that certain energy healers can. I can't do that on anyone. That's not my gift. We do know how to use words. We do know how to connect our clients with their resources. We do know how to help a client sense their own energy sort of weaknesses or places where they need patching up or filling in. So there's a lot we do for a person as we help them connect with their own resources that they keep bringing into their life way after the energy coaching has gone away. So please don't feel like I don't feel that I have to become an energy healer like my teacher. I actually don't want to even do that kind of work. I feel that it's not my path, and it's very medical what this person's doing. And I'm like, that's just very clear to me. That's not my path. I do want to learn more about frequencies though. So we can all have the things we're developing in ourselves, but it doesn't have to look like each other. Like, there might be people here who they're really developing a relationship with their guides. And there's other people here who are really developing a relationship with their breathing. And someone else is really developing their ability to feel or to sense their body. And those are all incredibly equally important. Okay. So let's look at, also as a protection, the bubble or the aura around us. So let's do something experiential right now, okay? Close your eyes and sense the space in front of you, feeling where does your energy go out to? And just trust your imagination. You can use your hands if you want. Where does my energy go out to around my front? And then how about around the sides? And how about my back body? And how about over my head? And how about coming down and around and under me? And just notice how is it to sense this for yourself? It doesn't not have to be easy. It may feel like, oh, I can sense it around my head, but it's giving me a headache. I can sense it around my heart, but forget my back body. I'm not feeling anything back there. And under me, that's just no good. So it's okay. Just be honest with yourself about what you sense. And if you feel one place is extra challenging, see if you can just take your hand, even if you can't reach it, if it's behind you, and imagine you're adding a repair kit there. And you're just saying any holes there, any open spaces, I'm going to just patch you up. And maybe you don't feel yourself doing it, but you just imagine and take your hands in front of you and be like, okay, I'm creating a patch. I'm sealing this area so that I can just be in my energy bubble. And maybe I need an extra shield of light or of glitter. Ooh, or maybe there's some animals that come around my energy bubble to protect it. So just opening up to the imagination, the creative mind, opening up to the feeling sense, the knowing, just knowing that it's there. I just know my bubble's there. I know that there's some vulnerabilities to my sides, but I'm going to give it a little extra love there, love on my sides. Oh, I'm going to go down and in because I feel that there's a hole up on top and I need to go down and in before I protect that hole up on top. I'm patching it there. I'm just imagining I'm patching it like I patch a floaty tube that's got a hole. I'm patching it like that. Okay, and then just sitting in the bubble and see what it's like to make a sound now in the bubble or to take some deep breaths. And I can breathe easily in this bubble because it's my own energy frequency. And I say mine, but I mean it for all of us that we're saying that to ourselves, my own energy frequency. And no one is allowed in my energy frequency. Now, the only exception is if you have children, young children, that are naturally and appropriately connected to you for security and support and grounding, then they may be in your energy frequency. But everyone else, we can love them, connect through our heart, connect through our minds, connect through our spirit, but our energy frequency is our own. And this is vital to this energy protection. Say to yourself, this is my energy. I have full permission to be in it, to surround myself with my energy, to feel my energy in my body, even if I'm just imagining it, even if it's just the wish to feel it. I give myself this permission. Okay, and when you're ready, opening your eyes. How did that feel for you guys to do that? Can you write in the chat, especially if it was hard? I want to know. And if it was hard, please try it every day for a little while. It will be different every day. The next step of that would be I'm glad, Jen, that it was empowering. The next step of that would be to actually play a little, play with expanding out to the whole room. Play with bringing the energy in very close and intimate to you. And just notice that kind of like your energy is breathing. So it's a good thing to play with. If you get a headache when you're doing this, let's practice. You guys can see my gray roots. Practice the pull if there's tension in the head. Practice the grounding. By the way, nausea is another thing of winds moving up. And we want to bring the winds down. I did get some nausea when doing that. And I wonder if it was just being out away from my body kind of brought that in. So we will have these sensations. Our bodies will react to energy. And that's just natural. That's great, Bella. And I'm glad, Rebecca, that it was soothing and comforting. That's really good. And I've had clients say, Magli, I can't do this at all. There is no bubble around me. And then what I like to do is the energy orbit exercise with the hand. Do you guys know that one from the meditation group? We just trace an energy orbit around. That's also really grounding and stabilizing. The other thing to do, working in front of your body with the hands again, the energy balls. energy balls, even though you're making a ball in front of you, I think as humans, we have this cool thing that's sort of like empathy with other things. If we're doing something in front of us, it also is around us. Now, this is just my belief, but I find that that's why it works to connect with the central channel like this. It works to make an energy bubble. It works to hold something that's difficult and untangle it with our hands. That this space right in front of us that we can work with our hands is like an energy field where we're doing work on our whole system. So that's another one, another energy exercise, untangling something that's stuck. Some people really like the spiral metaphor. Some people like a ball of yarn that they need to unravel. Now, not every tool will work for everyone. So like I find the tangled thing really works for me, doesn't work for all my clients. I have some clients that only talking to the body works. So that's another energy tool, being able to talk to the body, listen to the body, bring breath to the body. And so that's a dialogue with the body, and you have whole modules on doing that, but I just want to bring attention to that. Some people are less tactile, less imaginary, and they're more kinesthetic, so they can feel a difficulty in their body and they can ask it questions and they can begin translating that information into feelings or thoughts or metaphors that they can work with. Beautiful, Diane, about cleaning the chakras in the shower counterclockwise with each rinsing hand each time. Beautiful. And now I don't know if this is true for everyone, but you might want to play with the idea that the chakras are spinning in both directions at once. So they're going clockwise and counterclockwise all at the same time. But sometimes we can only feel one direction and only feel the other direction. If you can feel anything, I say hooray. Don't worry about it too much. If you can feel anything at all, well, I just feel a blob there, or I can just kind of imagine something that opens and closes. Perfect. Because this is hard stuff to feel and know, really hard stuff. Now, some of you might have that skill and it's easy, and that's wonderful, but it's okay if you don't, because it's just not natural for everyone. Oh, beautiful, Amanda, about the wind spinners. Love that. Okay. Let's go back to the doc. And I don't want you guys to get too tired, but I do want to get through a couple more things. Okay. Since we're focusing on the hands today, the figure 8, I think the infinity symbol is super important. And I will totally take the hand that's up in a minute. Let's just try this for a second. Tracing an infinity symbol over our eyes. I just love that one. We can also do it with our hand. And so let's say a client is needing to connect two parts of themselves, like their work self and their family self. See if they can think about those two aspects of themselves as they do the infinity symbol. You can do it with both hands, one hand. You can walk it on the ground. You can bring your whole hips into it. And for when there's headache or pain of some kind, I find the over the eyebrows really helpful. Well, like around, it's like you're tracing glasses on your face. And for years, I used the infinity symbol to get into state to do coaching or teaching. That was my direct into, I would say, my creative mind was this motion. So again, motion, body connects to our intentions and to our skills and to our resources. And it's like a very fast route in. Okay, where'd that hand go? Oh no. Please raise your hand again. I was so happy to see your hand up. Okay. Maybe you had to go. I think, oh, there you are. Lavana, hi.
Hi. It was my hand.
Yeah.
You talk about the sensation, like, so what happened, I'm just curious to know, what happened is the minute I close my eyes and I see you or connect with, I don't know, this energy, my head starts to spin, and immediately I think, no, I do it. It's not, it doesn't, like I'm faking it, or like I don't trust that it's come, from somewhere, I don't know. So I'm kind of dismissing it, like don't trusting it. So I don't know if it's happened to others or something. I thought that it's going to be.
It happens to me all the time.
Okay.
That's a very common energy experience for me, the spinning. And sometimes it can feel like I'm in the middle of the spinning. Sometimes it can feel like I'm spinning.
Okay.
And that is usually an opening of a chakra area of an energy center. So if you're feeling it, you can feel it anywhere in the body. Sometimes you can feel it around the whole body or in the whole body, like in the center of the body. So this is a very real experience that happens to many, many, many people. And it's usually a sign. I mean, of course, if you're worried about anything in the physical body, get your inner ear checked. I never say don't go to a doctor.
No, it's something that felt like, I feel like it's come from crown chakra. And it start to like really.
Yep. So it's usually a sign. Yeah, it's usually a sign that the crown chakra is very open, very big. And so there is a connection with the universe and the divine. But if it's unsettling, you can just ask that energy, please find your rightful place. And you can direct it to just go in and down a little bit.
Okay, so the thing is that I don't trust, like in my mind, no, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
My brain give this,
Yeah.
So this is the issue.
Yeah. So if you want
I need to trust it more.
No, if you want to, you can send that doubt. Would you call it doubt?
Yes.
Yeah. So you could send the doubt to where it needs to go to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know where the doubt came from or where it started, but you can just say, doubt, I send you with love wherever in the universe you need to go to evolve.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And see what happens. But you're honoring yourself when you do that. If you can find what the emotion is or what the thought is that isn't supporting you, sometimes we want doubt to be there. Sometimes we want healthy doubt. Sometimes we don't. So that's your judgment call. I've wasted a lot of time on my doubt. I have to tell you, I learned the hard way. I've wasted so many good retreats on doubt. Yeah. Oh my gosh, if I could go back and claim all those days on retreat that I sat there doubting myself, doubting the world, doubting energy. So
what do you do with all this doubt? Because I'm doubting everything in me, within myself.
Yeah. So what would be the antidote to doubt? What would be the opposite that would be healing?
Trust.
Okay. So how do we get to know trust better? Would you want to talk to it? Would you want to imagine it in a certain way? What would be your best way? Feel it?
Maybe talk to it.
Okay.
For me to talk to it.
Yeah, that's great. So this is where the strategy session of the Coaching 360, where we talk to an emotion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can talk to trust. You can imagine it as a character or a part of you that you're talking to, and you get to know, where has trust been? Maybe trust has been in a beautiful place all this time, and now you're going to locate trust, but maybe they've been on the mountains or the beach. I don't know.
So 360 I do with the antidote?
With the antidote. Well, you could do it either way, but in your case, I think you're clear that you want to empower trust.
Yes.
So you're empowering trust. You can also set an intention every day. In some way today, may I trust myself?
Okay.
In some way, may trust come into my awareness. Okay. And it's just like, our intentions are so powerful. So if every day we ask for a certain emotion to kind of lead the way, it tends to come up for us somehow.
Mm-hmm. So how you can feel it? How you can feel it?
I think that's kind of the next step. So when you talk to it and you set that intention for it, you might start noticing little moments of trust. Mm-hmm. Like I'm wondering, even in your life right now, there's probably parts of your life where you do trust yourself. You trust yourself to make certain decisions. And so I would want to talk with you about those parts of your life where you are trusting already and what that trust feels like. So you're very clear about what trust does feel like. Then you can imagine trust when you have doubt, you know what the feeling is like.
Okay. So I need to work.
And you might have words like, I trust my heart.
Okay. So good way you said, it's just remember, notice where I trust myself, feel it and remember it and bring it to the where I'm not trust, like remember the feeling of it.
Right.
And feel myself with it.
Right. And so you can ask yourself, does trust, like we could all ask ourselves this right now about trust. Trust is such a good one. Is trust warm or cold? Mm-hmm. Is trust inclusive or kind of a loner? Does trust bring me closer in or wider out? There's no right or wrong, but we're getting to know our experience of trust. Mm-hmm. And for some of us, trust might feel like a real inner game, like an inner hug. And for some of us, trust might feel like an opening. And there's not a right or wrong, but we're getting to know our relationship with trust.
Mm-hmm. So those questions, is there a strategy that, specific strategy that I can work with?
There should be. I don't know what past Magali did. I don't know if I ever made a strategy with these questions. I have a feeling I did because this has come up before, but I don't know. But I know I have the Coaching 360.
360 is good.
Coaching 360 to talk to an emotion. And I do believe I will look up what strategy guide. I don't know it off the top of my head. And I will take a note to create a guide for empowering an emotion. I'm pretty sure we have that, empowering an emotion guide. Getting to know the qualities of that emotion. I'm pretty sure we've got that one, right, guys? I think so. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. Great question. And Zaina, hi. Can't hear you yet.
Yes, hi.
Am I saying your name right? I just love your name. No, say it for me. Jana. See, I like Zaina. Jana. I like that too. But I love the Z.
It's Jana. Yeah.
Jana.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, I was completely into this topic that I forgot was that. Oh, yeah. I was going to ask, you talked about the chakra spinning clockwise and counterclockwise. And a long, long time ago, I don't know who told me, but someone told me that when chakras are, like when there's negativity, they start spinning counterclockwise. Is that true? Have I been...
I don't know. People say a lot of things. Okay. And it might be true for them and it might not be true for you also. Okay. Yeah, I can't say that it's supposed to be one way or another. I've heard it said, and again, I'm not going to say this is true because I really don't know, but I've heard it said that they're simultaneously going all the time. We just become aware of one direction or the other, because I feel my chakras sometimes go one way and then they stop and go the other way. Okay. And I guess I'm lucky this way. I trust the energy. So I trust feeling that movement. And I don't know why I'm feeling it that way, but it's brought me a lot of happiness to trust the energy and trust the sensing without telling myself it's ever wrong.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm not, my skill is not there to teach this, you guys, but I'm going to mention it because you're bringing this up. In some energy healing practices, you can actually change the direction, and one direction is to fill up and one direction is to release. But like I said, I'm not I don't know how to do that work exactly, but that's kind of where this stuff comes from. There are certain traditions and paths that really believe in the directions as either a filling or a releasing. Now, just like some of us are right-handed and some of us are left-handed and some of us are ambidextrous or whatever, it might be that for one person, releasing comes in a certain movement and filling comes in another. I don't know. That's why I tend to just trust them.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I can feel when I'm in meditation, I can feel that my whole body is moving.
Yes.
And then sometimes it moves in the other direction and I'm like, oh no, do I need to cleanse
I
here?
think that's balance. I think that's balancing. And by the way, in all traditions, all religions, when you see people in deep prayer or deep meditation, they do a similar movement. Yeah. And I believe that comes from the central channel and the connection to the subtle energy that's connected with that divine essence. And that's why we move that way. And the way we move sometimes the other way is to create some kind of balance between the two sides of the body.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I like all the shares about this. It's so cool. Isn't it cool to speak the same language, guys, or even to want to speak this language? Isn't it cool? Because, in a lot of places, we wouldn't be able to speak this language about spinning and energy centers. So I just want to, this is why, I do get a little stressed before workshops because I'm doing all these thinking and docs and stuff. And then when I'm here with you guys, it's like, it's literally, it is the best part of my week. Energy coach classes and meditations. It's like, oh, it's just so cool that all of us get to be in this path where, whether we're healing ourselves or helping others or coaching, to be able to focus on this. I can never stop feeling the gratitude, the blessing of having this be part of life. So just had to share that. Okay. Any other questions before I move on? All right, let's see. We at least will go for 15 more minutes. Okay, body movements for healing. Circles, just like that spinning, prayer positioning, opening, welcome, receiving, and giving. So we haven't talked about giving energy. So when we set an intention to send energy out, we are giving that healing energy. And sending it out, it's not a negative. It's always, I think it's in the practice of heart practices, of loving prayer, of generosity of spirit, of unification, that we naturally want to share love. We want to share joy. We want to share wellness. And this is why often when someone is going through a kind of awakening process, or they're going through a healing process, like they're going through a Reiki course and their hands are getting hot, and or they're going through energy coaching and they're feeling their chakras, there is a natural emotional movement within ourselves to want to share, to want to heal others, to want to give. And this is also something to trust and not doubt. So that part of you that says, oh, I want to share some of these gifts. I want to give someone these insights. And sometimes it'll come out in a bossy way, like, I want to change that person. I want to take what's dark and make it light or whatever. And that's, we have to sometimes come back and remember, every person in their own time will receive what they need to heal and evolve. And sometimes it's not everyone's time. So we might have a family member or friend that's really negative in some way, or cannot see truth, or is shut off from their feelings, or cannot listen to someone. We're human beings. We all have problems. And it's not always everyone's time, right? So then coupled with that desire to make gifts and wishes and to help people change, there can be that healthy discernment of, okay, I offer what I can and I listen and respect where someone's at. Now, in your intentions, in your prayers, in your wishes, you can really help the world. And that does not mean going in non-ordinary reality and doing something to someone else. So in every tradition I've ever been part of, they give a warning. Do not practice energy work on someone who has not given you permission. So ask for permission. This is like a universal warning. But sending prayers for people to find their healing and to connect to their higher self, that's always spoken of as a good thing, you know? In Buddhism, there's a practice of after you meditate or practice, you dedicate the merit of the practice to the world. So I think that's kind of really the heart of the generosity. Like, whatever I gained through this half hour of meditating, I dedicate it to other people. And they say that it maximizes your own blessings too. It's an interesting thing, you know. Again, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but it's interesting. And I think there can be a kind of a natural desire for that sharing. So listen to that little voice that says, oh, I just want to share some of this with the world. And if you really feel it like a pain in your body that you want to share it, sometimes it can be like that. Like it's an energy that just, it needs to be given. Go to a tree or a dog or a cat and give it to the tree or the animal. I find that almost always trees and animals are happy to receive the energy healing. Okay, let's see what else we have in this document. Let's just talk for a second about removing energy again. When we're removing cords, we're getting information about them, and trust the hands. How do the hands want to pull it out? Do they want to pull it out and then cut it? Do they want to pull it out in a circle kind of? Is there a sort of a gesture you like to make? Play with that. If you're pulling something out, how do you want to release it? So I really want to empower you to do it your way. And sometimes, like for me, it's more of a like just general like cleansing, like, okay, may I shower it off sort of. I even got a crystal sword to use to cut all the cords. I gave one to Mark too. That was my Christmas present to him. It's kind of cool. It's like a dagger, a crystal dagger. Okay. Shapes. So shapes are part of energy coaching tools. We can use different shapes. Someone was just talking about sacred geometry. Great thing to add to your tools. I'm not an expert, but I just love looking at the images of sacred geometry. It's a great place to meditate on. It's great to develop a relationship, your own relationship with circles, with triangles, with all different shapes. What is it like to sit in a pyramid in your imagination? What's it like to sit in a circle? Are there parts of nature that remind you of those shapes? What does a square bring up, or a rectangle, or a hexagon, or a diamond, or a flower, or circles joined together to make flowers? You know, you can get pretty, if this is your thing, geek out on it. It is a huge energy tool. If it's not your thing, don't worry about it. You got enough things. You got enough tools. We can trace shapes on our body parts. Can trace shapes with your mind's eye or with your finger and see what the effect is. Notice the emotional effect. Colors. Colors are a huge tool in energy coaching. We can imagine colors dropping in through the crown and mixing through the body. We can bring colors into our chakras. We can feel what colors are there. We can always use the color of, in Tibetan Buddhism, it's called clear light. It's kind of you could think of it as a luminous light that's filled with all the colors, and it's luminous. It's bright. It fills one with light, and that's always a safe healing color. In meditation, we can ask our meditation to receive information about healing frequencies with color. So it's an interesting thing. Just like you can ask a dream for more information, you can ask in your meditation, may I receive a teaching about a frequency, like the frequency of the ocean, the frequency of the color blue, right? So we can learn more through that dimension. Again, it's not my path to tell people to use this color here for that and use that color there. There are traditions that do that. And I honor those traditions and I respect them greatly. And I tend to use that clear light because it feels really safe and luminous. But if a color shows up for me, like sometimes I'm working with someone and all I can think about is lavender while I'm working with them, I accept it. I go, okay, amethyst, lavender, the herb lavender. I'm going to just let lavender be here present with us because I think of that lavender color as like as a healing agent, an elixir that's there to help the client and myself in that process. So that's kind of my relationship to colors, but it does not need to be yours in any way. Higher self, we talk a lot about, but it's here in the guide too. Helpers in non-ordinary reality, we talk a lot about. So angels, guides, we have lots of classes on that. I won't spend time on that. Pillars of light as a form of setting your room up to absorb any negative energy, entities, or thought forms that need to go to be healed. So it's interesting to consider. This is something we haven't talked a lot about. The nature of thought forms creating an energy. I think we all know this instinctively, right? That if we have a lot of fearful thoughts, it's a kind of energy that we're living with. And it's unfortunate, but we're human and we all do it, right? And personally, I never want to shame anyone for their thoughts. So this is where I get into a problem with NLP. Sometimes NLP will feel like practitioners or clients of mine. I have lots of clients who are NLP practitioners, and they're so hard on themselves. Like I use the negative tense, or I'm healed because I didn't use the negative, whatever it is. It's like this geeking out with thoughts, which I guess works for some people, and it's fine if it works for you. But if it creates shame, that's what I would just look at. If a person becomes more self-critical because they were using negative language, then I don't think it's helping them. If it just brings them insight and awareness, like, oh, I just said I can't do that, but I want to say I can, that helps me, then great. Just know your client. Know if that attention to thoughts is giving them more stress or more insight and relaxation. A thought, though, can become our worst enemy. So how many of us have had a thought that just keeps replaying? Know what the heart of that thought is at the emotional level. Know what the triggers are for that thought and know how you can release that thought. So like in my system, a lot of the negative thoughts they're not anger, they're not jealousy, they're not revenge, they're none of that, they're fear. So I can almost always bring it down to fear. And then I go, okay, what do I want to do with this fear? I want to sing it out of me. I want to move. I want to power fill. I want to reassure myself, whatever it is I want to do. I want to take action to bring healing to the emotion underneath the thought. That's how I work with them. Someone else might want to journal about them and change the the belief around them, change the decision around them. Someone else might want to paint them. One thing before we end, I want to mention is the body again, shaking things out. We can shake, we can wiggle, all of that helps. We can breathe it out like, imagine you have the worst breath in the world and you're going to just breathe it out of you. Let it go. Don't get self-conscious about when you're releasing something. You might do, like yoga has movements to help, like the lion, where you make your paws like a lion and you do something like that, you roar. You know, it's a release of that emotion. And in yoga therapy, that's really helpful with anger, to release anger through roaring like a lion. Why can't you type and cook at the same time, Amanda? Can you tap? And okay, before we end, fingers, mudras, because we're back to the hands and to the body. So again, if you want to add more tools around mudras, there's great books out there. There's practices. My one that I teach in energy coaching is just, well, you know, naturally, I love this shape. But when you do this with your hands, notice how it feels in you. We can also feel energy through pulling imaginary threads between our fingers like this, kind of like we're making taffy. And does that feel like an expansion or a connection? Just noticing. We can bring harmony and balance through touching our thumb to each finger. As you do this, so each finger has a connection to somewhere in the body. If you feel something unwinding, or you go faster or slower, or you pause on one and you tap, this is a practice in trust. Trusting the hands. Let's say one wants to stay held and the other one wants to move. Trust that. So this is a great trust building practice with your own body and energy. And I actually advise trying this while walking. You can walk and do this. And you will find that what you need tends to just happen with your hands, and you might not know why, but that is the mystery. Okay, see, I love it so much. I could just go into a trance and do that for the next hour. Okay, we are at an hour and a half, and I know it's been long. Can anyone share with me how it feels to do the tapping with the fingers? Do you like it? And then also you can release the energy through flicking it. Another one you can do that's a nice closing is bring the hands together, open a book like you're reading it, and then you open the book all around and down and up, and you close the book. So try that again. You open it to read it, you bring it down, around, and close it. So it's a great wrist exercise, but I think it's also doing something with the subtle body, bringing a kind of integrity and healthy closure coming together. And the French press is another good one, just to ground our energy at the end. And I think probably we should have another class with this document. Also, if you want to write to me any questions to support at Coaching Institute, put energy coach question. So if you're reading the doc and you want more information, what I'll do is I'll answer you in the doc probably, and I'll add it to the doc and I'll share that. So if you're like, okay, I did this and this happened, or I learned this in the course, it's not on the doc, you know, or I have a question about this, please share. I'm creating this with you guys. Okay. Oh, sure. And the doc, I guess I can just copy it from the top and add it to the bottom of the chat. I hope that works. Oh, what are the clairs? Okay. Should we go with the clairs next time, I guess, because it's been an hour and a half. Let's do the clairs next time. Do you guys see the bit.ly doc there? It's also under, it's in the welcome section of both Energy Coach main rooms. I made a lesson that said PDF for 2/3/23. It's a cool day today, huh? 2/3/23. That's who does numerology. That's got to mean something. 2/3/23. Okay. Yeah. And that's already there. I already added it to your library. I just put it under the welcome because I didn't know. So I have this issue making the links. I needed Mark to do it. I tried to do it, didn't work. So did that one work though for you guys? This link, it did work? Okay. So I added it just under the welcome. I'm going to move it somewhere, but right now it's under the welcome as the PDF for today's class with today's date. Okay, guys. And if there's any, I'm just thinking if there's some housekeeping I want to bring up. I think I'm going to suggest in next week's practice lab, we try just working with teaching each other how to do some energy clearing and energy filling, just so we have that experience of like half an hour each teaching and receiving. Okay. Yeah. And there's 4 clairs. You'll see them there in the doc, and we're all different, and we can also open and become more aware of the different clairs. Okay. And yes, I will also, I will look for that emotion doc, and I will bring attention to where that is, the getting to know the qualities of the emotion, empowering an emotion guide. They're in the Creative Coach workshops, which you guys all have also. There's a workshop on emotional processing that you might also like. Okay. Oh, Clair olfactory is not. That's not one that I. It's a beautiful sense, though, to to smell. And actually, when people are having deep spiritual openings and awakenings, they sometimes smell things that aren't there, like they smell jasmine or something really sweet. And it's actually the pituitary gland, I believe, is being stimulated. And that gland can make us smell things and see things. It's usually a seeing one, but the brain will create hallucinations of smells also as part of a spiritual process. Also, I don't know, smells might tell you things, right? So there might be smells that give you important information. Cool thing to bring up. Okay. Okay. Yana, can you break down a negative thought so that you understand what emotion is behind it? So write down a negative thought in the chat that I can help you with, that I can kind of give you some questions for. What's a negative thought you have? The one I gave as an example is like I'm laughing because it's my own, and I'm like, okay, how much should I share here? I got too much medical workup done, like too much, and that like I learned every active virus in my body, and that can send me down a thought channel. I call it a road trip, to be playful with it, a road trip of thinking about, well, if I have this and I start healing it, I'm going to get these side effects, and that's going to make me feel so bad. I'm not going to be able to work. And if I don't work, then my family is going to suffer. And if my family suffers, then I failed as a mom. And, like I'll go through all of these, like thoughts will very quickly go down a pretty unfortunate road trip. And so I got to go, okay, so what is the foundation of all of those thoughts? What's the emotion behind them? And I can really know that that's fear. I actually don't know if I don't even know if I actually have that illness. I don't know if I'm going to have that side effect. I don't know how long that side effect will last. So I'm asking myself, is that fear really true? Like, is what I'm fearing really true? So I'm not enough. Get more specific. Do you tell yourself, I'm not a good this, or I don't know enough of this? Like, what is the exact thoughts? Because get good at noticing the exact thought. And then ask yourself, is there an emotion underlying this thought or these thoughts? Usually there is. And then I like to question, like, how true is that? Is there another reality that's more true? Is there an uncertainty I need to accept here? Because often we have to accept the mystery of life, or that we don't control everything. And then, is there an antidote here? Is there an emotion that will give me reassurance, that will give me support? And it might be kinesthetic, like just feeling like a hand on my back saying, I've got your back. And I don't really know, is that God? Is that the universe? Is that a Buddha field? I don't know. But it's just a reassuring hand on my back. Is it a memory of like something I love to do? Those are the antidote emotions. So getting good at giving the antidote emotion. Now, if the thought form or the emotion is giving you physical anxiety, no, it's giving me a panic attack. My heart's racing. I feel ill, like, then usually that's something that needs to be released more energetically. Like, I'm going to chant, I'm going to move, I'm going to grunt. Ooh, ooh. Like sometimes literally I sound like I scare my family when they hear me. I pound on the floor. I'm like, ooh, 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 and I like release it like strong, grounded sort of grunty sounds to release it. You can do that in the car if you don't want anyone to hear you. Or for you, maybe it's like beautiful angelic music, or it's just an om that lets you release it. I find it has to be a little more like silly in a way, but it's not silly. It's quite serious. It's like I'm taking on a power animal and I'm like releasing it. That's just what works for me though. So for someone else, it might be something else. But whatever it is you're doing to release it, just look at it. Is this a healthy habit? Or am I releasing it in a way that's creating me more suffering? Just notice that, because sometimes like we might push our body too hard to release something, like I'm going to run 6 miles, or we might use a substance to put like a fog around the fear. And we need, I also want to say this is really important, that I think really important for all of us to just consider this. You don't have to believe this, but I'm going to suggest this. Sometimes psychiatric medication is energy medicine. So I trust that I don't know if a client has a lot of anxiety or overwhelm or sadness and they need to take a psychiatric medication. I never think that's too bad. They're fogging it. I think, well, for their system, that is energy medicine. And I'm very grateful that those energy medicines exist in Western medicine. I do know that some have side effects that are not good. I know that there's, sometimes people prescribe things that aren't right for the right person. So it's very complicated. I'm aware of the complexity, but I'm also aware that with many of my clients, it deeply benefits them in a way that allows them to then do the other energy practices that they couldn't do if they were in a constant state of fight or flight, or in a constant state of sadness. So I just offer that to you guys so you know my perspective. I don't know, because I just think it's good to know, like I'm guessing in our world, a lot of people feel that it's always bad to take any Western medicine. And like my personal body, for example, I try something. If it doesn't work for me, now I've actually never taken psychiatric medications, but I tried an antiviral for a week. I felt terrible. And I said, not for my body. My body's too sensitive. I went to a naturopath. I'm doing herbal medication instead, and that's working much better for me. But we can be open to our world and to our clients' world. They have a complicated system of different practitioners sometimes. Okay, Amanda, hi.
Hi, thank you. You were talking earlier about releasing things and how you do like an Om and other things that can be done. But I just wanted to ask you, I've always wondered, I don't know if it's a Sagittarius thing or what, but my husband and my brother both are Sagittarius, and they.
Oh my.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm asking you then. But they have all, like my brother, he's older than I am, but the whole family talks about how when he was a baby, he just always jabbered a lot, like just just went on like in his own language almost, and just jabbered. And my husband, when he'll come home from work, he works where he works, he's mostly has an office job. And when he gets home, it is like this crazy singing. It's just gibberish, but it's like a let off of steam for him. It's just like he'll say, and just like for hours.
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful.
I don't say anything because that's the way he needs to, release. But I'm just like, oh,
okay, I'm a little like that too, Amanda. I am. I have to say, I have been known to make some silly songs up. Yep.
Yeah, it's just skip it out. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And I get tickled because sometimes it's the same song, and I'm like, oh, I know this one,
Yeah, and it's definitely an energetic letting go of tension when we do that.
He's restricted all day, and he can't goes around the office doing that. They might not want to keep him there, so he has to kind of just do it after he gets home. Yeah, I just thought it was the funniest thing. It's like his way of releasing. And I guess my brother still does it. And I mean, he's 52 years old or 53 years old. He still does it.
Yeah. I have one child like me, like my 25-year-old son is like me. And so we'll do that with each other, and it gets like pretty crazy, and no one else in the family can relate, but we'll have a duet, and
I love that. That's so funny.
So I would embrace it. But I mean, if it does drive you crazy, go into another room. It can be a lot for people in the same space.
You think that's what that is just
energy
letting
release.
go of just everything out of his. Okay. Yeah. I think it's cute, but I mean, I don't know. It's like a thing. Like I've seen several people do it.
Maybe that's the time to dance with him or something. I don't know.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Okay, and I saw someone sent me a private message and then it went away. Send it to me at support@Coaching Institute, okay? If you wrote to me privately, direct message. Parts of self strategy, that was a direct message. So will you send that to me to support and any other direct messages so that I look it up, because I don't have the whole syllabus in front of me. And maybe we should do more parts of self work. So one parts of self strategy is the Coaching 360 to talk to the different emotions and create an integration and healing. But when we also do work where we when we're doing energetic interference work, sometimes that's experienced as different parts of self that need to find healing with each other, like the part of me that wants to protect me and the part of me that wants to take a risk. Oh, I saw the husband there, Amanda. We saw the husband for a second. But we can also go more deeply into parts of self and find out specifically, like, is there a part of you? It can be a simple question. So now I'm going into the teaching on it. I don't know if I taught a workshop on it. I will look it up, but if not, we should do a workshop on that. We should do a workshop on clearing cords, and we should do a workshop on the different clairs. So those would be upcoming workshops. Okay. All right, guys. So good to be with you here today. Let's just set an intention to kind of close the session, coming back to ourselves. If our energy was spread out, just gather it up, use your hands, let yourself feel your own body, your own center, ground your energy, connect yourself, maybe a hand on your head and a hand on your stomach, feeling your feet, connecting to your own energy. And maybe say a wish for yourself and these tools. How does that sound for you? What came to me is, may these energy tools be available to me exactly when I need them. Okay. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend, and I look forward to our next time together.